Was Mr. MacDonald lying to this committee as he's accused you of?
Mr. Brock, for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Doan, for your attendance today and your opening statement. It would be prudent for me, sir, to remind you of a couple of things. I specifically ask that you be sworn for a reason. Even though when witnesses attend at committee, there is a parliamentary privilege that whether people are sworn in or not, it would still be considered a contempt of Parliament to mislead the committee by giving a false statement or false evidence, to refuse unless related to cabinet confidences, to answer any questions, or to fail to produce documents that this committee might require someone to produce. That is generally what happens. I specifically asked that you be sworn, given the swirl of accusations that are flowing around from senior government officials as to who retained GC Strategies. So you were sworn because now this attracts criminal code consideration. I understand you have a lawyer, sir, and that would be very prudent for you to do that. But there are provisions in the criminal code that penalize perjury, deliberately giving misleading evidence, which, if founded, if there's a finding of guilt, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, could land a witness in prison for up to 14 years. So you've got both of those issues to contend with, but I say that not to intimidate. I say that not to concern you. I say that not to force you to clam up and consider your instructions from legal counsel. I say that because, sir, I want to give you a safe place in this committee. There were a lot of accusations hurled at you by Mr. Cameron MacDonald, and I have some serious reservations regarding his truthfulness with respect to those accusations. So this is your opportunity, Mr. Doan, to finally set the record straight. So he, on a number of occasions, has accused you that, notwithstanding his position as Director General of Innovation, this particular ArriveCAN app surely would fall within his mandate as an innovative product. He's accused you of selecting GC Strategies. You, on the other hand, sir, when you testified on October the 24th, 2023, not once, but I counted it on 4 different occasions over the course of that 2-hour meeting, questions from numerous members of this committee from all political stripes claimed that you still don't know who ultimately selected GC Strategies. And in fact, you even went so far to say you've been trying to find the answer for close to a year. You used references to my team made that decision, but then your team consists of 1,600 employees. That doesn't make sense. Then you narrowed that down to potentially 6 director generals. I narrowed that down to Cameron MacDonald, who's largely responsible for innovation. So we have numerous competing theories as to who chose GC Strategies. And I can understand. I think Canadians can understand why no one wants to take ownership. This is a 2-person consulting firm that doesn't produce a product, that doesn't operate out of a brick and mortar entity, largely works out of their basement, and has, over the course of a number of years, but in relation to ArriveCAN, hit the taxpayer lottery. $9 million for doing nothing other than finding professionals to do the work. It's a pretty good gig. I bet you there are millions of Canadians who would love that opportunity. So I can understand why you and others who've testified don't want to be attached to this particular company who is under police investigation. So I've got about a minute and a half, sir. I'm going to have numerous opportunities to question you in the course of 2 hours. But I'm going to give you this opportunity to give me the straight goods. Was Mr. McDonald lying to this committee as he's accused you of?
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. I think that's like the most direct question I have ever heard in this committee.
Yeah, he's
He's out for blood.
well, and here's the interesting thing. So a lot went on there. Brock, as everybody knows, is not new to questioning witnesses. Former Crown prosecutor. So it was very interesting, his approach here, very calculated. He took Doan on a bit of a journey with his emotions. So the first thing he did was put the fear of God into him, literally. That this is what could happen if you're not truthful. You could go to jail for 14 years. That's the penalty of lying to this committee. Now, the other interesting thing here is after that, he then slid him into a level of comfort and is almost enticing him into literally a safe room. I'm your friend. I'm your buddy. I already don't believe the other guy. So he's trying to get Doan to trust him. And then, in the end, he's laying this out on a platter for him. In that, if Cameron was actually the person who solicited GC Strategy, this is now the opportunity. This sets the tone for the rest of the hearing. Because this is the opening. This is the softball, everybody. So if he says yes, then the hearing is going to go one way. If he says, I don't know, then he's in a lot of trouble. Like, he needs to provide a concrete answer here. There is no way this guy doesn't know who selected GC Strategies. So, given that Cameron came after him, if this guy knows the truth, and the truth is that Cameron McDonald was the one who selected GC Strategies, now's the time.
Thank you for the chair. The question that I was asked at committee and that I answered truthfully was who picked GC Strategies. As I said in my opening statement, I chose a direction to in-house. In there, in the material I found, there's no evidence that that decision was tied to a particular company. I stand behind that decision. That decision allowed us to build ArriveCan. That decision allowed us to build over 2.5 years of changes as the pandemic evolved.
Mr. Doan, I'm going to stop you right there. You got 30 seconds. Please answer the question. Was Mr. McDonald lying to committee on November the 7th, 2023, when he placed the entire responsibility for that decision to hire GC Strategies at your lap? Was he lying or was he telling the truth?
Mr. McDonald said that I made the decision. I did make a decision, to be clear. I made a decision on a technical direction. Also in evidence, and as posted on the Globe and Mail, in his own handwriting, he writes, I did not make that decision, nor was I even familiar with the company.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Sousa, go ahead, please.
Oh, Doan.
Why is he trying to save that guy?
Oh, Doan.
I would have tossed him to the wolves.
Unless Doan did make that decision.
But here's the thing, okay? I think that Brock had him sworn in front of the cameras because Brock, on some level, and this is just speculation, I don't have any inside secrets or anything, but that on some level, Brock must believe him, and he wants to show the public and all of us watching that this guy is believable, and that's why we're swearing him in.
Well, it was also, because, he even said, remember, these guys have been given a lot of evidence by Bottler. These guys have been given more evidence than we have been given at this point, which is natural. So they know a lot of the answers to these questions before they even ask them. Recall the testimony of Bottler and recall the Globe and Mail, recall the evidence released to date on Twitter. What that evidence suggests is that Cameron McDonald, for the Bottler project, was trying to get GC Strategies to get Bottler onto the specific project. This is going to be ugly, folks. This is going to be real ugly.